Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Unboxing the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you would, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below. That would be greatly appreciated. So today I'm going to unbox an album that very well may be a bootleg or an unofficial pressing of an album I wanted for a very long time. And that would be Ratt's 1990 album, Detonator, pictured right there. This is their fifth full album. They did have their EP in 1983, but this was their fifth full record. That was released on August 21st, 1990, so just over 31 years ago. This was the last album to feature the original recording lineup. It's also their last studio album on Atlantic Records. And it was actually the first full album they released that wasn't produced by Beau Hill. It was a moderately successful album in comparison to the others. In the UK, it only reached number 55. In the United States, it did reach as high as number 23 and has been certified gold by the Record Industry Association of America. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, like I said, I'm not really sure what I got here. So I did buy this from a company called Rock Bottom Records. Now, I looked on their website and everything, most of the stuff they had on there looked pretty legit. But I did notice that they had Detonator as well as Warrant's Cherry Pie, neither of which I've seen be re-released anywhere else in any sort of deluxe edition or reissue. And in both cases, they showed as import. But when you clicked on the album, and normally when you click on each album, it would show the label or the reissue label that released it. In both cases, there was no label listed. So that made me a little bit suspect. Not of the company itself, because I ordered the album, they packaged it very neatly, and it got here in a very timely fashion. So let's go ahead and take a look. If I can get this open. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way, rip it. Like I said, they packaged this up very well. So, it's a reputable company. And so far, so good. So let's get rid of the box. Oh, cool. They did include some rock bottom cards in here. So that's pretty neat. I don't know, that might be a sticker of some sort. Anyway, some cool little extras in the package there for you. So let's take a look here. So I can already tell it's a little bit light. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, I do have a Ratt video that I did on this box set over here, this CD box set that came out about 1.5 years ago. So I do have legitimate copies of Detonator via CD, digital, whatever else. But several months ago, I did a video on Kiss's Sonic Boom where I unboxed a copy of it I received off eBay, and it was clearly an unauthorized pressing. Packaging and all that wasn't as complete as you would think a Kiss album would be, but after I listened to it, the pressings and all that were very good. So I really had no complaints. And I was just happy to have, a complete Kiss album collection finally. So I'm kind of feeling the same way about this one. I can feel like packaging-wise, it feels a little bit light, like there's not much to it. But at the same time, as long as it sounds good, I'll be happy because I've wanted this album for a long time. So let's go ahead and rip this bad boy open again. Here's the front cover, Ratt Detonator. Here's the back with a picture of the band, as well as the names of the member of the band, track listings, and a couple liner notes. And it does have the Atlantic imprint down here, as well as a barcode. So this very well may be legit. I'm not really sure. It looks nice. It doesn't look fuzzy or anything like that. It looks like a really nice vinyl. So if this is somebody doing unauthorized issues, they do a very nice job. And like I said, I'm pretty happy to have this. So let's go ahead and rip this bad boy open. See what we got. All right. So again, the sleeve, is very nice. Whatever this is, if this is authentic or if this is unauthorized, it's very nice packaging. So again, there's the front cover without the shrink wrap. Here's the back cover without the shrink wrap. And let's see. Side label doesn't say a whole lot. Okay, there's Ratt Detonator on the side over there on the spine. So let's take a look and see what we have inside, because again, when I did the Kiss album, when I pulled out the inner sleeve, there was no lyric sheet, there was no liner notes, there was no nothing, there was no gatefold or anything else. And if you know Kiss, they usually go pretty over the top with their records. So, at the time, I did fully realize that I had picked up a bootleg. But let's see what we have here. So far, this points to this might be legit. Until I saw this. Okay, so first things first, it tells me this is probably an unauthorized copy of this album. Is that, if you look on the inner sleeve here, you see it does say Ratt Detonator at the top, but if you notice the pictures at the bottom, the pictures here are from the cover of their third record, Dancing Undercover, which they would not have used for this. Their image was a little bit different, you know, in 1990, more so than the glam images that you see on this sleeve here. So that tells me right away that this probably isn't a legit release, despite having the Atlantic logo and everything on it. But still, you know, whatever. I mean, at least they made an attempt here. And then if you look on the back, you know, it does have some other information. It says Ratt comes back for one last round. Again, has another old picture of the band with what I'm assuming is some biographical history, some of the same liner note information over here that was on the back of the outer sleeve. And then, of course, the lovely Tawny Katane crawling around as she did on the Out of the Cellar album cover. So, you know, that being said, you know, like I said, based on what I see in the pictures here, either the overseas company that put this out wasn't really aware of Ratt's history and where they were currently when they made this album, or, you know, this is, like I said, this is an unauthorized release, which would explain why they used old and different pictures and stuff. But either way, I'm still pretty stoked to have it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the record. So we have kind of a splatter, you know, a little bit of a splatter, you know, red vinyl. So let's see, you know, on one side, it's just got the Ratt sticker in the middle with the Detonator Ratt logo and everything. So that's pretty legit. And then on the back side, just a middle sticker that says Ratt and has the track listing. So again, pretty cool, pretty cool. And like I said, if it sounds good, I'll be more than happy with the fact that I simply have this record. This is one I've wanted for a long time. It's not as easy to find as you would think. You know, usually, you know, pretty much anything after like 1987, 1988 becomes really hard to find because at that point vinyl was on its way out, was being replaced by obviously cassettes and CDs and everything at the time. So this is not easy to find. You know, legit, authentic, original copies of it are pretty hard to come by on eBay and generally run you a pretty penny in auctions and just basic cost. So I think I paid about $40 for this, plus shipping fees and whatever. It's about $45, $46. No big deal. And like I said, if it sounds good, I'll be totally happy with the fact that I have it. So let's talk about the album a little bit. So let's see. You know, the reviews were kind of mixed. Personally, for me, I think this is probably my second favorite album next to Dancing Undercover, which ironically was the picture they used inside. But this is one of my favorite Ratt albums. Some of the reviews said the album was more glam than their previous records. However, if you look at the back cover of the album, you know, the guys really weren't as glammy by this point as they were in the early to mid 80s, probably due to the impact of Guns N' Roses and really pulling a lot of those early 80s LA bands kind of out of that glam mode and more into just like a black leather jean jacket kind of thing or whatever. So, you know, the production on it is a little slick. Like I said, this was the first album not produced by Beau Hill. This was produced by Sir Arthur Payson, who was somebody who worked under Desmond Child, and I think the executive producer on the album, if I'm not mistaken, was Desmond Child, and he was involved in some other things on the record as well. So let's talk about some of the songs. The first single off the album was a song called Lovin' You Is a Dirty Job. Still gets a lot of airplay on Hair Nation and other hair band radio type stations. They also had another single called Giving Yourself Away. Probably the closest thing they have to a power ballad. Has a really cool video you can see on YouTube. Great song. Not really sure why it didn't take off. You know, it has a great hook and, you know, is as good as any other power ballad out there. And then the other single that's not shown as a single on Wikipedia, but I do remember there being a video for it, is a song called Shame, Shame, Shame. And that's probably my single favorite song on the album. I mean, just the riff and everything that it tears into, and it's just got a great chorus and everything. But some other highlights, One Step Away is another great song, very well written. Hard Times, and the last song, Top Secret, are highlights of the album. There are some cool guest people on the album. John Bon Jovi sings backup vocals on a song called Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. Really cool. And Michael Schenker actually plays some guitar on Shame, Shame, Shame. So that's pretty neat. Let's see. You know, again, like I said earlier, sales, you know, the album's been certified gold, meaning it, you know, shipped, possibly sold around 500,000 copies. And it kind of followed the trend that Ratt had. I mean, they had major success with Out of the Cellar, and then every album they released after that sold a little bit less than the previous one, to the point where this one only achieved gold status, whereas the other ones were platinum plus. You know, and I think this also continued the trend or the downward spiral that was happening in hair metal. Even though grunge wouldn't hit for another year or so after this album came out, there was still kind of a downward spiral. You did have a few bands at the time that were starting to come up, but they were really like clean cut, you know, and really, you know, kind of just told everybody that, you know, the hair metal party was over. And a lot of the bands like the Ratts and a lot of the early LA bands were really starting to see a slide in popularity. Again, even though grunge wouldn't knock hair metal completely off the planet, you know, for another year and a half or so. You know, they were kind of old men in the scene here, you know, and they didn't quite have the, you know, they weren't building, you know, like I said, their albums were selling less and less as they went. They weren't really building like Motley was. Not to say they were any better or worse. It just, you know, it just wasn't working out the same for them. But again, outside of Dancing Undercover, definitely my favorite Ratt album. Always has been. I've had this since the day it came out, and I've loved the album ever since. You know, they went on tour, you know, and I think it was a smaller tour than the previous ones they had. And like I said, this was the last album to feature the original lineup, the original recording lineup. The band disbanded after this record. They released the Greatest Hits album in '91, and that was pretty much it for several years. Perry went on to form the band, Stephen Pearcy went on to form the band Arcade, which also featured Fred Coury from Cinderella. And then Ratt returned in 1996, although this time they didn't include Robin Crosby in the lineup, nor did they include Juan Crucier. So it was really just Steve Pearcy, Warren DeMartini, and Bobby Blotzer. But they would eventually split again, and then for a time there were two Ratts. There was Stephen Pearcy's Ratt, and then there was Bobby Blotzer and Warren DeMartini's Ratt that featured Jizzy Pearl and John Corabi and all that, you know, in various incarnations. They would come together again in the mid-2000s, but then split up again. And currently, you know, Stephen Pearcy and Juan Crucier are actually touring with a version of Ratt, but the only album they've made since the 90s was 2010's Infestation. Who knows what'll happen? Unfortunately, you'll never see all five of the original recording lineup together again, as Robin Crosby died in 2002. So unfortunately, the best we can hope for is that the four other members can, you know, put their differences aside and get together and maybe give us one last record before they call it a day. But again, Ratt Detonator, you know, I'll let you guys know in the comments how this sounds once I listen to it. I'm hoping it sounds good because, again, I'm almost positive I bought a bootleg of sorts, masking as an import. But if it does sound good again, then Rock Bottom Records, you can be sure that I'm coming back to buy a copy of Warren's Cherry Pie. So that's all I've got this time. Like I said, if you would, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below. Hope you enjoyed this. I've got some other things out there. I've got the rest of my Unboxing the Vinyl series where we unbox new vinyl, we unbox reissues, we unbox box sets like these two over here. I've done previous episodes on those. I've also got the rest of my Inside the Vinyl series where we talk about lost classics and live albums, lost classics and classic live albums. I've also got some live concert footage from some festivals, Exit 111, Welcome to Rockville, Kiss concerts, among others. And I've also got some crappy disc golf videos featuring some crappy disc golfers, myself included. So again, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Peace out.